Dune. Frank Herbert's Dune, the Sci-Fi Channel miniseries.
John Harrison's Frank Herbert's Dune.
And who is John Harrison?
John Harrison is the composer of Creepshow.
Ooh.
And the director of Tales from the Dark Side and multiple episodes of Tales from the Dark Side. And, well, the Tales from the Dark Side, the movie. He just did a bunch of stuff for Creepshow, the new series. He's directed a bunch of stuff.
Yes.
Thank you so much for telling me about the Tales of the Dark Side on frickin' DVD. Thank you. I'm going to tell you that all the time. Like, I am so happy I got, because I was trying to find it online. It was so hard to find. And I was like, I think you're the one that told me, just go on DVD and get it. I was like,
It's been hard to find. And also, shameless plug, we're covering the entire Tales from the Dark Side series on our show, Talks from the Dark Side, Movie Dumpster spinoff.
Great segue about hard to find things. So I remember, like I said, this movie was really hyped up in the early 2000s.
Just fucked up my nose ring. Oh well.
Okay.
I got really excited.
I
got really excited. Now it's cool. I'm just gonna not touch it.
You sure? Take 2 seconds.
You sure?
Right. Whatever. It's fine. I'm good.
You sure?
Keep going. Segway.
You
Yeah.
don't see
hard
us
things
with
to find.
stupid shit in our nose.
Not at all.
So, yeah, it was really, really hyped up. I think I said earlier, I remember seeing previews for it in movie theaters. It won Emmys. I think it won an Emmy.
An Emmy?
Yeah. I guess for like best like miniseries or whatever.
Maybe at the time.
Yeah. But no, it was like a really, really big deal because again, that movie, fans weren't happy with it.
Sure.
So they really went for it, didn't they? They were like, hey, we're gonna make it smart. And the new movie took a page from this. Like, let's not cram this into 2 hours.
Yes.
Let's break this up. The book is broken into 3 parts, so it actually makes sense. It's smart to do this.
It's also a pretty long movie we didn't mention for like 1984. You know
it's
what
2
I mean?
hours and 17 minutes, yeah.
It's pretty long.
Yeah. Yeah, but the 2001, I remember seeing all the that shot of the sandworm coming up and the thopter flying away from it was so fucking cool. I thought that was so awesome, but I never really got to experience it because I could never find it on at the right time. So I always saw bits and pieces until recently where I finally found it on YouTube because it is impossible to find.
On YouTube?
No, it's impossible to find a physical copy of this in America. Like, you can find like a Blu-ray that's region 2 or whatever, but this was such a big deal. It was released on DVD. You cannot find the DVDs.
Tony and I were talking about this.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing it in like Suncoast.
Yeah.
And it sat there for years and I never picked it up for whatever reason.
Yeah, but
like,
now
you can't get it at all.
It's never been re-released. I found a copy on Facebook. It did not come in on time. I found a copy.
Why do you keep ordering things that don't come in on time?
I thought it would come in on time.
It's not his fault.
It's literally according to according to the tracking, it's coming in tomorrow.
All right.
Look, I got.
Wait, can you please send us that so we can get some nudity, please?
Oh yeah,
Well,
what was that all about?
Anyway,
I can't help it.
They put those shields from the Dune 84 over all the boobs and butts.
So
thick sensor block.
So I
couldn't even see the outline of
I
the
found the
boob.
DVD on Facebook Marketplace. Some lady doesn't realize how rare it is, which is why I love Facebook Marketplace. Bought it real cheap, but the tags, I was talking to you on the phone actually. I'm like, here, I'll have it here. Because I wanted to give you the price of what I paid for it. And then I saw the tags. It was like Dune, DVD, huge worms. And I'm like, who was typing in huge worms into Facebook Marketplace? They're like, oh, there was a 2000 Dune movie?
You're going into like dark web territory.
Yeah, you are.
But yeah, it's just so not readily available.
Yeah.
However, some genius did upload all 3 parts of the YouTube.
Who released it? Was it Artisan?
Yeah, Artisan.
And they went under, and who owns the rights now?
Oh, maybe that's... You know what's funny? I think one of the Blair Witch tapes I was like transferring, and at the very end of the tape, there's an advertisement for Dune on DVD.
Stop.
Yeah, I thought that was bizarre.
That's funny. I need to look at the old advertisements for that.
So yeah, they went really, really all out on this. They filmed it in Czechoslovakia. There's a lot of Czechs in it.
Oh, big time. K&B worked on it too.
Yeah.
I think they made specifically the navigators, and then they're like, all right, that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah. What are your guys' thoughts on this version? It's definitely accurate to the book with changes. They all have changes. None of them are perfect.
But none of all the you can't just take a straight book and have every single thing. You have to have your own little
No, which I'm fine with.
Yeah, especially when it's a spice. It's the reason for your spice tends to change, and it also
Yeah.
creates a different type of atmosphere in the story.
Yes.
I really enjoyed these a lot.
I
It
did
was
too.
easier to understand what was happening for the first time. I don't know if it's because I did watch the David Lynch version first, but it was much clearer, but it was also a little bit more blunt.
Yeah.
It was more in your face, exactly what was happening. There wasn't really as much artistic style.
Although there
as
are
much,
some of the
but there
dream
is definitely
sequences
a
are really
some.
cool.
Yeah.
Like I like when they show like the guys in robes chanting Muad'Dib, and then
Yeah.
the camera
I do
moves
like
and
that.
it's in the Baron's office and he's having a nightmare and then they're
Oh.
gone. I thought
Yeah.
that was real
I
creative.
do say there's more trippy aspects in the episodes, probably, especially when he goes into, or especially Jessica, when she goes into what is
The
like
water
that-
of life, the water of life, when she drinks
but
the water
does
of
that
life.
They do that a couple times where they're
Yeah.
in that universe and stuff like that. There's so many of those trippy moments, but
For
even
sure.
Lynch
Because-
even had
because
those.
there's-
Oh yeah. Well, big time.
And I think you need it for this kind of movie.
Especially because, like, well, first I want to say, like, the minutia of the politics in this is so now we have more time to explore all of that.
Yes.
Yes.
Not only the politics of the situation between the Harkonnens and the Atreides and the Emperor, but also explore characters and their relationships to each other. Like, we get a lot of time with Jessica and Leto and like what their relationship is like and how that's affecting Paul and how it's affecting the deal that they're making and the stuff with the Harkonnens, and it just lets it breathe a little bit more. There's other characters put back in that were obviously cut from Lynch's version,
Yes.
and their arcs and all that kind of stuff. You just get a little bit more time with everybody,
Yeah.
and with the overall story, so it lets you breathe a little bit, especially when it's broken into 3 chunks.
Which was smart.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which is
you
smart.
really care about these characters, to be honest. You
Yeah.
really do. You understand them more and the reasoning of why they live that way. And it makes it a little sadder, too. It
Yeah.
makes it definitely more of an intense movie to where you're like, you really feel for all the characters almost.
Exactly. You get to know them a little bit better and feel for them a little bit better.
Well, I don't feel
whereas
for Baron,
in
but-
like Lynch's version, like we're very focused on Paul.
And it's
Yeah.
very, and again, it's like they're speeding it up.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like even with Paul, we're not really learning a lot because they're just skipping.
We're already
Yeah.
So
Dean Stockwell, by the way, I just remembered his name.
Dean Stockwell, that is his name. He was Dr. Yue.
Dr. Yue.
Yeah, so a bunch of the things they changed, the big changes, which this is one that you like. They expanded the subplot of Princess Irulan.
I love that
And the
so
Emperor.
much. She's such a freaking badass. She just comes in. She just has this energy where I felt like the movie needed it.
Yeah.
Because
It's-
it made sense, especially someone in the Emperor's world, almost not a traitor, but an insider.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't call her a
So-
traitor, but she has a good heart. Like she's not an idiot, and she's the only heir. Like she's already trying to like show like, I'm sorry, I wasn't a son, but I'm still even more powerful than you think.
Yeah, totally. And we get a lot more of the Emperor and her relationship.
Played by Giancarlo.
the guy from
Giannini?
Mimic,
Yeah.
right?
The guy from Hannibal.
The guy from
Yeah.
Mimic.
Who is one, yeah.
Mr. Emperor Funny Shoes.
And
yeah.
all the all the Italian films that Trisha loves that actor.
Oh, he's great.
So when we
yeah.
did Hannibal, she's like, I love him, not in this. But I was just so I sent her. I mentioned the episode. I'm like, I'm actually watching Dune. And he's in it. So I sent her a picture of him in a ridiculous
In his
outfit. And she's
purple-
like,
in his purple
she's
jumper.
like, what is he wearing? But famous Italian. I do like that the Emperor of the known universe was Italian. That was a great change.
A spice. Mwah.
Mwah. They do love a spice.
They do love
Oh
the
my
spicy
God.
meatballs.
So now the Emperor, the expansion of their storyline, 2 reasons. I mean, you got Giancarlo and you got to play this in Europe.
Sure.
You're going to want to use him.
Yeah,
Because
big
the
time.
Emperor
Yeah.
doesn't. So
He
in
doesn't do
the book,
shit in Dune. Like, well, in the 84
He's just
one,
there.
he's there.
in the book, he doesn't show up until the end.
Yeah.
And Princess Irulan, you see
that
excerpts
was
from books that she's written throughout the book. But when she shows up at the end, she's just there. And Paul's like, I'm going to marry you just so I can be the next emperor. And she's like, all right.
But that's also it. I mean, it is important because that's what her.
Yeah.
His
But
dad did.
it's just kind of like, and actually in the deleted scene with Virginia Madsen and Lynch's, he's like, you will be my wife. She's like, what?
Irulan shall be my wife, opening the way for an Atreides to take the throne.
Like, well, it's kind
I'm emperor now.
So I guess they were like, hey, wait a minute. Since the book was written, there was this whole thing called feminism. I'm sure someone rolled their eyes and said, oh, I know. But they had like, all right, we got to do something. So they were like, all right, let's make Princess Irulan like in on it and on the Atreides side. So when it happens, it's not like you're my wife now, woman.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, it was part of it.
And I just love like with her relationship with the Baron and stuff like that.
Yeah.
When she goes in with Frey and stuff like that, and she has
the reason they did it was because she's important in the sequel, so they wanted to build her up, and they did do a sequel.
Sure.
She does come back in Children of Dune.
It also connects her to Paul a lot more,
Yes.
especially with that banquet scene where they get together. They're drinking the spice beer.
Which is the one scene Frank Herbert wanted.
Scene. That is when she goes up, when he drinks it first, they're like, oh, it's going to go to your head. And he tries to be cool too.
Yeah.
She's like, fuck you.
Yeah. She's like, I can hang with the rest of them.
That was probably one of my favorite scenes out of all of it. And then also, and it also shows the maturity of those two when their guards come. And it's like, okay, well, let us be the adults here.
Yeah, the example.
Yeah. They merged some characters' storylines. Like, I think Thufir just disappears. The Mentat, he's just gone. After that first attack, I don't think we ever see him again.
He's screaming and running around, and
I don't think we ever see him again.
No,
a lot of his stuff is given to Gurney.
Yeah.
Gurney's this is my favorite Gurney. I did love Patrick Stewart, but like,
I can't understand what the fuck he's saying all the time.
But he just plays this character like he's more lovable in this.
Yes.
He's like a drunk grandpa in this. That's what
this is the only one that doesn't cut
his
out
fucking loot.
His ballast, the ballast set.
The ballast, excuse me.
This is the only one that doesn't cut it out.
But there's a great line though, saying like, you know, a good when they're good at swordsmanship or something like that.
His reputation only precedes him on the what is it called?
Ballast set.
On the ballast set, besides his knife skills or whatever.
So there is a scene where Gurney, the Duke, Paul, and Liet are all hanging out in the Lynch version, and he's playing the ballast set.
Yes, that's right.
He holds the ballast set in one scene, but he never plays it. They cut it out. And the new version, which we're going to get to, what's his face? Thanos.
Just call him Thanos.
He apparently plays the ballast set, and I think they cut that out. So this is the only version that has not cut out a ballast set so far.
Keep the ballast set.
So yeah, they have that there. The Mentat's lips are no longer red. They just have nothing. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Paul is older.
Everything's very clean in this too.
Which I didn't mind.
I mean, it's a little. After coming off this, everything's so polished and like not as artistically striking. So I'm like,
Well, Paul is.
I did like the costume. I know we have a different opinion on like I do like the costumes, especially for the party scenes.
some of them are cool, but mostly I'm kind of like,
I think the more exaggerated ones in the movie I really liked, like the big. I did like the mother, the
Reverend Mother.
Yes.
Reverend Mother. She has these crazy like wings. I liked that. And I did really like the Emperor's daughter's costumes a lot because it showed more of her personality as well.
Sure.
One of the other things is Paul is older again, and he's still kind of space Jesus-y, but not as much as last one.
Fucking whiner in this.
He is a little bit of a whiner.
baby.
A lot of I was reading like fans were kind of like they didn't like his kind of like standoffish attitude.
I didn't like it either.
I've been told that about me.
I did like him a lot though in the fight scene with the one
Jameis.
Freeman. Yeah.
That was a good
I thought
scene.
he did really well in that scene though, because it did show like, oh, when you take a life, it affects her. Or what does he say? It says basically like, hey, if you kill someone, it's gonna fucking affect you.
Yeah, because he had never killed anyone before,
Yeah.
even though he was in
they think
training, and he's supposed to still be only 15 or whatever.
Because I think in a lot of the version of the book and whatnot, they're like, why is he playing around? It's like, no, he just doesn't. He hasn't killed yet.
Yeah, and it's also like yield, and he's like, what are you
Well,
crazy?
no, we
No,
don't
this is
yield.
to the death. What are you talking
He
about?
probably should have asked for all the rules before he accepted. Yeah. So the Baron. Okay, well, he's still having sex with the slaves, but they made sure they were of age slaves.
Let me tell you something. In this one too, like it's much more on the nose than even Lynch's version. Because
By the way, I'm gonna say it fucking right now. This is the best Baron. Fucking Ian McNeice is the Baron. He is chewing the scenery. He's having so much fucking fun.
he's great.
I, Baron Vladimir Harkonnen, am the instrument of his family's demise.
He is so awesome in this. Like he's
He
like
is a good
giving
Baron.
it his
He is
all.
a really good Baron.
He's flying around. He's dressed like a leather daddy when he doesn't have his thing
the
on.
flying fat man.
Yes, I do like that they included
He
that
is
scene.
a leather daddy in this. The red leather daddy.
He's a kimono daddy in this.
Yeah, I do like that they added the scene where Fade tries to assassinate him and fails, and like Because that's from the book where he's like, Fade, you had so many opportunities. Why'd you do it now? He's like,
And you just didn't do it.
he's like, can you not try to kill me yet? I'm trying to do something here, and then you can take over. Like, can you fucking relax?
I'm trying
And,
to
like,
watch Ace Ventura pull this slinky down these giant flight of steps.
And Frey is so upset. Like he's like, you're not going to do anything to me. He's like, if I wanted you killed, I would have had you killed before you got through the hallway.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I have here the last big change. I don't know if this was ever really mentioned in the book, but everyone has a silly hat. Now, can we talk about the Spacing Guild? Because they're my favorite goddamn thing in this movie.
Really?
And they're pointy black hats, and the guy.
What do they do? Yeah, they're.
I love.
They're raving, dude.
You don't understand.
Is that what it is?
There's a
Especially
scene-
at the end.
There's a scene later where, like, I think the Emperor and the Reverend Mother walk in, and the guild, not the Navigator, the guild, the Spacing Guild guy, is just standing with just on one leg, with his leg up in the air. And he's like,
They're fucking weird.
I'm missing that big microphone right about now, dude.
they're both weird in different ways. But no, you're right. The main Navigator, or not, God, the main guild guy,
Yes.
he is overacting like crazy. And he really went for it. Really went for it.
I mean, he committed.
Everyone
He
really
was
went for
committed.
it. The very end,
I love the very end
when
with
they're
it.
like, hey,
We do
Spacing
not.
Guild, you're
Yeah.
going to do this. And he goes,
The guild does not take your orders.
and then they're walking away like this is the end. At no point does anyone go like, oh my God, how do we let those guys get so much fucking power?
Whatever. No wonder they want to kill House of
I
Atreides.
do like the costume design in this. I don't hate it.
It's okay.
The still suits look more how I picture them in the book, not just, I mean, not cool like this.
It's also a whole mask now.
Yes.
That they use
Well,
for the
I think-
Yeah.
I think
nasal
they
thing.
mentioned they did have masks and the nostril. I think they had both, but for whatever reason, that movie just went with just nostrils.
There's no like head wrapping or anything.
Yeah. The sets are beautiful.
Some of them.
The practical sets are beautiful.
Some of the practical sets are.
Yes.
The CG is fucking god awful.
The CG is not aged well. There's some good shots with the sandworms.
Maybe
Particularly that first sandworm attack.
on the rock, or before, or when they're going the spice
The-
freighter.
the spice miner, yeah.
That's the first time you see a worm.
Yeah, that one's okay, but yeah, look, it was TV budget. It was
I get
new. I get it. It has not aged well.
It has.
But yeah, I kind of forgive it at the time. You kind of forgive it.
I like Lynch's space. Actually, I like his space from the best. Actually, thinking about that, yeah, it's way better than the miniseries.
This one does the roar from the Rancor. At one point, it's the Rancor's roar.
What it is it's partly like Jurassic Park dinosaur sounds,
Well,
which
I
is
think
like
the
the
T-Rex
dolphin.
also
and something
used
else.
a little bit of the Rancor roar.
Did it really?
too. I think so.
I mean, maybe it's possible. It's definitely not like
Interesting.
ILM or whoever
No,
the
it
fuck
is
was
not.
mixing
It is
Jurassic
not.
Park because
It is not.
Yeah.
But I mean, the CGI could be a little bit better.
the worms
Now-
look the best out of everything.
Yes.
That are CGI.
Now,
yeah.
so they couldn't green screen a lot of the set. They made a big desert set, like a big sound stage with the sand and like a painted backdrop of dunes.
the matte painting, yeah.
Not the most convincing. Not the most convincing. You can kind of tell, like, oh, they're back in the sand room. But, I mean, what else were they going to do?
I'll take
Yeah.
that over bad CGI any fucking day of the week. Really.
It depends. It depends.
There's just something about it that I like.
Like just
Yeah.
the practical aspect.
Just the
of
practical,
it,
like
yeah.
that huge like matte fall off of like the horizon, and then just like some practical.
I guess
shit.
it's hard when it's just the desert. You can't put like things to. It's not
It's
like if it
also-
was like a forest, you could put some trees
Well,
up. But
yeah. But it's also like it's probably expensive to go shoot in the desert, and
Yeah.
and it's hot as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another
it's just
thing.
I started recognizing the same background. I'm like, oh, they're
But
back
they
in
also
that
like
room.
they travel at night. Like
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
else are you gonna film like
Yeah.
that? That's got to be fucking real difficult.
Yeah.
'Cause so much happens during the different times of day.
I thought it looked fine. I like the
Yeah.
little sand
Yeah.
caves and stuff that they're in.
I actually like. I think one of my favorite parts of this was though when Beast comes and actually kills.
oh yeah,
That kill versus any of the other time. I don't remember Lynch's having that kind of kill.
No,
the baby kill or
wait.
No, not the baby kill.
the ceremonial
The
kill where he
cer-
takes the ceremonial
Oh,
dagger
yeah.
and fucking
in one of
and
the
executes
framing-
everybody. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I think he just does it to one guy.
No, he kills them all, and he sends an email to the Baron, and he's like, "Look, Fade, your brother
Remember he
killed
did
everybody.
the
Isn't
one.
that nice?"
I don't remember the other ones, but I remember the one, and the kids were watching.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
zooms out, and the Baron's watching it, and you see on the video, and he's just
that's
stabbing
right. He is
like
doing
all
the
of
other
them.
ones.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right. He is, and he doesn't. He's like, and then he's like, "Yo, look, this is what your brother does,"
Yeah.
and that's the scene of saying, "Oh, we're going to send you in, and you can take your brother's head and be the savior," which is hilarious because they, in the end, take his goddamn head, and I was like, "Yes!"
And they actually show it. Whereas the Lynch version, it's like, "Yeah, we killed him."
He's dead.
Oh, okay.
That was the only violence that I think I liked in this version.
It was brutal.
Because but the thing is, it was slow and it was clean and it was crisp. But what was happening? All the other fight scenes were just so fake and forced.
I mean, they tried that. They tried to do the space karate where he's like teleporting.
Yeah, see, I like the guns better in that. I like the voice guns better in that respect. The only okay fight scene I think is the one where Fade's like sparring with that dude and he like beats the shit out of him. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that one was good. That was good.
Yeah.
So yeah, Oh, and no, we forgot to mention, like, William Hurt is the Duke in this.
Yes, he is.
He's, like, the biggest actor in the movie. He apparently really liked Dune. He just really wanted to be a part of it.
He was good.
He was good, yeah.
Yeah, he was good.
Jessica's great in this.
Yeah, Jessica's really good in this.
Yeah, she's probably my
They cut out,
favorite
so
Jessica.
certain scenes got cut out because of the Princess Irulan thing, and where they escaped their captors in the Thopter,
that's just not in.
They're just in the desert.
Yeah, they just, like, dropped them off. And like, all right, here you go.
Which I was fine with that. But yeah, overall, I think if you want to get the idea of the book, and you just you got a day to kill, just watch this. It's fun.
Yeah.
Fine and fun. It's silly. It's very silly.
It is a commitment.
The CG is very dated.
Yeah.
But I think it gets the point across, at least story-wise, better than some of the other ones.
It's very engaging. It's very engaging. I say you fall out a little bit, but I think the second episode was probably my favorite. You really dive in the characters, you understand the characters, and that whole the killing of the worm and that one, I just really love that scene. I wish they had it in the Lynch version.
Well, they did. It got cut out.
Well, yeah.
I know. I think those just the lifestyle and that culture of them is so goddamn important that you just don't get in the other movies.
Yeah, you spend more time with the Fremen in this.
Because it's so sad.
And they kill the baby. They kill Paul's baby.
Yes, they kill the goddamn baby.
Well,
yes, there is baby death.
Yeah.
It just dawned on me that, like, do you think that Lucas went back to the well, back to the Dune book for episode 1, 2, and 3 with all, like, that political shit?
Probably.
It's starting to feel like it.
Probably.
Especially because, like, I've sat down with this for the first time in a long time, and I'm like, oh my fucking god. Like, House Atreides are like the Jedi. And the Harkonnens are like the clone troopers, and like Emperor's Baron Harkonnen. Kinda, he's like the Emperor and Baron Harkonnen like wrapped into one. I don't know, it's weird. I don't know, maybe I'm reaching here, but that's the way it feels.
Yeah. So my last thought on this. The chick who played Cheney was really hot, and I wish she was in more things in America.
Bad haircut, but she's beautiful.
I was into
She
the
is
hair.
stunning.
And if you don't think I googled Cheney nude
you
when I realized that it was blurred in the YouTube version, you got another thing coming. I googled that right away. I will say I wasn't too into their fade. Their fade wasn't that great, but the Baron really wins me over on this. Oh, Duncan Idaho sucks in this.
I can't even remember.
He's
Duncan
just there.
Idaho
They don't even give him his heroic death where he kills all the people. He just gets hit with a rocket.
Yo-Yo Potato is not in this much.
Yeah. They really minimized his whole thing.
Yeah.
They have the death of Liet Kynes, but they speed it up. But
Oh, that one?
When they walk,
it was the explosion, right?
Yeah.
That was very
and this
random.
This is the one that explains like how Paul can destroy the spice. He's like, yeah, we're gonna put the water over this. It'll kill all the sandworms, which make the spice, and you won't have spice.
Also,
the other version, the Dune one, the Lynch one, he's just like, we could destroy the spice, and everyone's just like, sure. How? No one ever explains it.
Also, because it goes into the political minutia, like, you see Harkonnens are still on Arrakis, and they're working with the Fremen. Like, there's like Harkonnen assassins and shit, and even like they were still there with the Fremen.
Yeah.
You're like working with them. But like in Lynch's version, it's just like, okay, now Atreides, House Atreides is on Arrakis, and there's no Harkonnen. The Harkonnen like come.
Well, they're supposed to be gone, but they left some spies.
Yeah, but like.
Yeah.
But it's only the one dude that's already infiltrated them.
Yeah.
Well,
do you mean the Guild? The Guild is definitely working with the Fremen behind everyone's back.
No, the Harkonnen are totally. Well, no, they're not friends, but I'm saying they're still occupying Arrakis.
Yes, that makes sense.
And the Guild is working with the Fremen.
Yes.
And in Lynch's version, it's just the Fremen doing their own thing on in the outer rim.
But yeah, the whole point of this is just how all the world. so much politics are involved and who's involved with what, and the fact that like the emperor like is just an asshole.
Yeah. The stuff with the water is so shitty. That fucking fountain that's in the middle of and they're like it's a thing. It's a custom. You take the water out, you wash it, and you dump it on the floor. Even though these people are paying for like a cup of water every day.
And I love when Jessica comes out. No one else is allowed to pay for water.
That was a good one.
That was good.
One final thought. I said final thought earlier.
Sorry,
but this is definitely the thing. So they found a cost-effective way to do the blue eyes. They gave him glow-in-the-dark contacts with a UV light.
And followed him around with the UV light.
Followed them around with the UV light. Problem, sometimes the UV light was too close to other actors and you could see the blue on their face, or the actors would turn and then the eyes are no longer blue.
I did notice that.
They didn't even bother in the long shots. I'm like, okay. It's fine though.
It looked cool. I
good.
remember seeing the commercials for this thinking the eyes were like the coolest fucking thing. But yeah, finally watching it, I'm like, oh, that was a real cute thing that they did. It didn't work out 100%, but I applaud them. Yeah. Way cheaper than rotoscoping.
Oh yeah,
TV budget.
Big time.
It's very creative.
Yes.
I like it.
So moving on.
Well, just one last.
Oh god damn it!
I used to think
so
it was
much
you.
in this.
I used to think it was you and McGregor on the DVD cover. Anyway,